Hi, so I'm Amy Churchouse, and I am a Kiwi originally. Well, I'm still a Kiwi, and moved from New Zealand to Melbourne 4.5 years ago to start my career as a vet. I've done lots of things in the past. Been a zookeeper, an TESOL teacher, a sales training manager. I've worked in the fitness industry. I've been a rugby player, a stepmom, a house owner, a business owner, and what else? A bunch of other things, I'm sure. But yeah, ultimately I am a problem solver. That's one thing that I'm very, very good at, and I'm very good at thinking about things differently and doing things differently. So I have started a connection coaching business since finishing as a vet, and I essentially help people to look at the challenges that they're facing and hopefully change their perspective so that they can see them with new eyes that see opportunities rather than obstacles, because there's always a way to make something better. It's just often when you're in the stress and the thick of it, it's very difficult to see that, and sometimes you need somebody to help you reshuffle the pieces of the puzzle so that you can fit them in a way that works better for you, because there's a lot of people suffering out there at the hands of the systems that we've got, and people don't think that there's any other way, and there is always a better way if things are not good. So yeah, I help people to do that and help them to connect with themselves and with other people to improve things. So yeah, that's what I do. Cool, so I started the first Good Cover Network in Kensington about 3.5 years ago because I'm a problem solver, and while dealing with some pretty massive challenges in my own life, I actually lost my cat, and I took a day off work to deliver some flyers around the neighbourhood to see if I could find out where he'd been. I had no idea whether the people that had seen my cat would have seen my flyer, so it was all a bit tricky, and I was quite worried about whether I was ever going to see him again. And at the time I kind of thought, there's got to be a better way for me. I had everything I needed, but I just needed other people's eyes. I needed to know if anybody had seen him, and it was difficult for me to do that. And around the same time I was problem solving around all sorts of things, thinking about all the solutions that we have in the houses around us. I had to buy a saw to cut some wood, and it only cost me $7, but it was still $7 that I could have not spent on it, and also another saw that the world didn't need because there's lots of saws out there. And wanting to make things better is something that I have always been quite passionate about, and that doesn't matter what that is. Like, I've always wanted to improve people's well-being, or put a smile on their face, or if I see a problem, try and iron it out or make things a little bit smoother or easier. If the culture in my organisation is not good, I want to try and change that and facilitate more positive outcomes. So I was sitting there thinking, how do I help people help each other? How do I help people, and how do I help people help each other? And I thought, well, if I can get us all in the neighbourhood to be connected, and we have a place where we can ask for help, like, hey guys, I've lost my cat. Have you seen him? He looks like this. Then I'll be able to talk with the other people and find out if they can help me. And I could borrow a saw, and I could find out about what composting options there are around, and I could see if anybody had a problem with their phone that was like my phone. So yeah, basically I started the Kensington Good Karma Network as a place to ask for help for our neighbours, and I didn't want to be dealing with anybody's opinions or their complaints about, or arguments about right and wrong, or discussions about right and wrong. But for me, it was about, no, we need to bring our problems so that we can collectively try to solve them. There's plenty of places to sell and advertise things. I wanted this to be about helping and giving rather than pushing and taking, which is so often and so common, around in our society, so common it's a social norm. We push ourselves out there, we market ourselves, I'm the best, I'm the this, I'm that. We're very insularly focused, and I really wanted this to be about allowing people that needed help to voice that so that we could all see how we could help them. We don't know what people need until they ask for it. So even if I think somebody needs help with their animals, they might not want help with their animals. They might want me to go and have a cup of coffee with them instead. And that's something that we're not really taught to kind of think about, is that we don't know what people need until they ask for it. And also their solution might not be the same solution as my solution. So if somebody asks for help for moving house, You'll have one person who will want to use a moving company. You'll have another person who doesn't have a car and will need a car and some extra hands. There'll be somebody else that doesn't have any money, so they'll definitely need somebody to help them physically. And all of those solutions are available, and all of those solutions are different things that different people will want. So to have a place where we ask for what we need and then we get to choose the thing that's right for us is really important, because we all have different priorities, we all have different risk profiles, we all have different needs and wants and things that are important to us that we need to factor into our decision making, and that's important for the Good Karma networks to facilitate that people are able to do that. And so that's why we have, anything that's given is given with no expectation of anything in return, because we don't know what people want or need until they say or they clarify. So yeah, that was how I started, and how we started with the guidelines: no selling, no advertising, no negativity, and anything that's offered is done so with no expectation of anything in return, and with the sole purpose of a place to ask for help. Obviously it evolved and became quickly very much a community group, and a lot of people wanted to be sharing about things that were happening in the community, which of course is a really great thing to be sharing. So local activity and actions that are being taken by people in the community to make things better are all very welcome on all of the Good Karma networks. I think that our society really doesn't support or encourage us to ask for help in many ways, and that's, I'm not sure exactly why that is, but we have, I think probably our, the stiff upper lip of the British is probably where it originates, but also there are a whole lot of expectations around, what we should be doing and what we should be able to cope with, and we, I think, impose a lot of those on ourselves. There's also a fear of judgment. And I think that's very real. So there's fear about how people are going to see us, whether it be as a weakness, or whether it be as I'm too privileged to ask for help, or people are going to judge me because I'm poor, or people are going to judge me because I should be able to look after my 3 kids by myself. And there's all these shoulds and have-tos that we create for ourselves, because one of the things that we've seen on the Good Karma networks is when somebody does ask for help, everybody responds compassionately. Part of that is because the culture doesn't accept judgment. We don't have any time or energy for judgment or negativity, because it doesn't help the situation. And I believe that if it's not going to help somebody, then it's not welcome. And so that's why I'm really passionate about it staying, no judgment, no negativity, because that's the stuff that makes people afraid of asking for help. So if it's going to be a safe place to ask for help, then it needs to be free of judgment and negativity. And most people are compassionate, most people are caring, and it's really nice to give them the freedom to ask for help and for other people to be compassionate. And obviously then people are positively reinforced for asking for help, and then it also shows other people that it's a safe place to ask for help, so it becomes a norm that this is what we do here. We're kind, we're compassionate, because everybody's struggling with something, and we've all got different problems, and just because I haven't got the same problem as you today doesn't mean I won't have it tomorrow, and it doesn't mean I won't have it next week. And the interesting thing about we've had all sorts of challenges from, I've got a spider in my house and I'm really arachnophobic, can somebody please help me, which is amazing, because at that time that person is really stressed out because they have a spider. I wouldn't be that phased, but they are. That's real, that's emotionally taxing for them, and to be able to help them in that moment where they're feeling like that is amazing. And then you've got people who are suffering from postnatal depression. Why should you be shameful about that? That's not something to be ashamed of, that's something that's really affecting your life. And the fact that we go about our lives pretending that these things don't happen to us, pretending that we're fine when we're struggling with some pretty massive challenges, with domestic violence, with, abuse, with, we've got, arachnophobia fears, we've got social anxiety, we've got social isolation, I'm afraid, because I just can't go out of my house, or I'm afraid because, I'm alone, or, I don't have any people to call on, what do I do? There's all sorts of struggles going on out there, and we don't pay attention enough to other people to see that, and I feel really challenged by that, and I just really want for people to be really real and go, hey, I need some help, Because we'd all, the majority of people would just go, oh my God, I had no idea. Now that I know, let me help you. What do you need? Do you need a hug? Do you need me to come and sit with you? Do you need some time? Do you need some resources? Do you need some skills? What is it you need? Let me help you, or let me find somebody else who can help you. Because together, we actually have access to everything. So now there have been about 45 Good Karma networks that have been started since the original one that have been connected to the Good Karma Effect, so working with us. Of those 45, a number of them have fallen by the wayside for various reasons. Typically the administrators haven't really known what they were getting themselves in for, so they thought it would be easy just to start a Facebook group that would be great and the community would look after each other, but it's not quite that simple. So we've worked really hard to try and help people, but for various reasons they may or may not have been able to continue with that. Finding administrators or for building teams on our Good Karma networks is a challenge. Well, it's not a challenge, lots of people are invested, but it's a really important part of it that needs to continue flowing. So that's work in progress always, making sure there are resilient teams so that the networks are supported to keep their group true to purpose and keep the culture self-regulating and compassionate and caring. So that's one challenge. I guess one of the things that's challenging from a big picture perspective is that the Good Karma Effect as an organisation, there's not a big knowledge of that. Because I kind of have been piecing it together behind the scenes, nobody really knows the big picture except a few of us that have been sort of connected and seen all of the networks. Most people are in one or two and they don't really see the connection, but the connection between the networks is of huge value in terms of sharing resources and skills and knowledge and challenges, like, oh God, I have this challenge with this, and for the administrators to help each other with those challenges. It's efficient, it's effective, it's supportive. We've had people that have had massive challenges in their lives and they've just gone, I can't do this anymore. Other people have just jumped in from other networks and helped them out, so that's been really, really great. But yeah, the awareness of the organisation on a big scale is something that we really need to get out there, because the impact that these networks and the 63,000 members across them is having on a practical level, on a social level, on an emotional level, on an environmental level is massive. And it has so much more potential. So I really want to see some partnerships, some support from organisations that believe that the community is to be supported and empowered to facilitate the solving of their own problems, because that saves us a whole lot of trouble. They don't have to go to organisations, they don't have to go to businesses if they can sort their own problems out, and then they also feel more valuable to each other and more connected. So there's a whole lot of wins in actually empowering the communities to work together to solve their own problems. So the networks are basically facilitating collaborative community development that is creating positive outcomes for the community. That's what they're doing by creating a safe place that they can ask for help and solve problems together. So that's what the networks are doing in their respective suburbs. Obviously they're doing it on various different levels and they've all got their own sort of different flavour, but with the main goal of solving problems together, connecting people and solving problems together, it's very effective. If we get the engagement from the groups, and starting networks is not an easy thing to do, because it's a kind of new concept. People go, oh, what do you mean I just ask for help? Number one, I'm not used to asking for help, and number two, what are people going to do if I ask for help? And that's weird. I'll help people, but I'm not going to ask for help. So sort of helping people to understand what it's for and how to use it. What can I ask for help about? Is it about environmental stuff? No, anything. You can take any problem you have, take it to a Good Karma network, and see if 7,000 people might be able to help you with that. So if people are puzzled about anything, I suggest that they take it to their Good Karma network. So that's the networks themselves, and as an organisation, obviously, we need to consolidate in terms of the support that we're providing for the administrators to empower them to support their networks. And the collaboration between the administrators from the different networks, it creates a really great opportunity for identifying people that have greater needs in their communities. Like we've had some people in a couple of different networks, with mental illness, who we've strategized together about how we can help them, what services we can plug them into, and we've been using our networks to do that too. So that's been great. But also we've also seen people that are interested in exploiting the networks, and that's been made obvious by the fact that they're doing it on a bunch of different networks too. So it's been really helpful for the administrators, and also obviously for us to help keep our networks as safe and helpful and relevant to the members of that community as possible. So that collaboration and that core, that working together is really key. We've got huge opportunities in terms of environmental impact, reaching people that are socially isolated, if we were able to get some resources so that we could actually support those kind of initiatives being seeded, the thought of in networks and things. There are some amazing solutions that are popping up. We've got Kensington Compost, which is a great 15 compost bins in the neighbourhood that are being locally run. Means that they can there's a great impact for composting, and that's something that we could see the thought of in many other areas too. Is anybody doing this? The Brunswick Sparkle cleanup crew has just started in Brunswick. They did their first cleanup, just went on the network and went, hi, I'm going to go and pick up some rubbish, would anybody like to join me? 7 people picked up 6 bags of rubbish in an hour with a child and a dog, and it was amazing, and they're going to do the next one next weekend. So they're doing a monthly event, just people in the community empowered to get together and make a difference. So there's huge opportunities if we're able to consolidate, when we are able to consolidate and support these kind of initiatives and encourage them, because everybody can make a difference. We just need to help them see where to plug in and give them some ideas, which is what the networks are doing for the individuals in networks are doing for each other, which is awesome, because I don't have all the ideas, but everybody else does, which is cool. There's been many amazing stories, and I probably haven't seen half of them. Not even half of them, I would have seen a fraction of them. One of the ones that stands out, which is giving me goosebumps just thinking about it, was when somebody on the Brunswick Good Karma Network said, hi there guys, we've got this, my mother-in-law started knitting this cardigan for my unborn child, and she died suddenly while she was knitting it, and we were wondering if somebody could finish it off, because it's really sad for us to look at it every time we look at it. And of course somebody in the network, a couple of people in the network said, yeah, of course I can do that. Oh, getting teary. And they got this cardigan finished, which was amazing, for them to have that finished and to be able to put it on their child. Yeah, powerful stuff. So those kind of things, it's massive. Goodness. There's all sorts of things like that are happening. People who have been looked after when the whole house is burnt down. Could you, does anybody have any stuff? Yeah, we'll totally be there. We'll help you with that. People have broken up from relationships and needed to find a new house and get some stuff to live with so that they could have their children over. That stuff that when people's lives have changed for the better, whether it be emotionally, whether it be socially, whether it be physically, there are so many stories. Because you connect with some fantastic people, and you'll meet people, and you'll be able to solve your problems easily, and you might be able to start something that's exciting. You will be given the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of other people. There's a whole lot of reasons, because you'll enjoy it, because you'll see people being good to each other, because it's a nice place to be and to engage with people, and there's all sorts of possibilities there. I think I would really like it if people thought about the other ways that they could engage with their Good Karma network. Well, lots of people are, but there are many things you can do on Good Karma networks, and I love the fact that they're an opportunity to make a difference in the world on a greater scale than just doing your day to day. It doesn't have to be anything big. I just had a conversation with a guy at the bike shop. He said, "Oh yeah, I've been thinking recently. I really need to start something." And I went, "Just ask on your Good Karma network. Just say, hey guys, I'm really passionate about whatever he's really passionate about, and I want to make a difference. Has anybody got any ideas?" And then you get people's ideas, and then you start something, and you have other people to do it with. So there's a whole lot of wins, So yeah.